Luca slept heavily. Not even the church bell tolling in the tower above his head could wake him. But just when the night was darkest, about 3 in the morning, a sharp scream cut through his sleep, and then he heard the sound of running feet. He was up and out of his bed in a moment, his hand snatching for the dagger under his pillow, peering out of his window at the dark yard. A glint of moonlight shining on the cobblestones showed him a woman in white racing towards the yard to scrabble at the beams barring the heavy wooden gate. 3 women pursued her, and the old portress came running out of the gatehouse and grabbed the woman's hands as she clawed like a cat at the timbers. The other women were quick to catch the girl from behind, and Luca heard her sharp wail of despair as they grabbed hold of her, and he saw her knees buckle as she went down under their weight. He pulled on his breeches and boots, threw a cape round his naked shoulders, and then sprinted from his room out into the yard, tucking the dagger out of sight in the scabbard in his boot. He stepped back into the shadow of the building, certain they had not noticed him, determined to see their faces in the shadowy light of the moon, so that he would know them when he saw them again. The portress held up her torch as they lifted the girl, 2 women holding her shoulders, the third supporting her legs. As they carried her past him, Luca shrank back into the concealing darkness of the doorway. They were so close, he could hear their panting breaths. One of them was sobbing quietly. It was the strangest sight. The girl's hand had swung down as they lifted her. Now she was quite unconscious. Her head rolled back, the little laces from her nightcap brushing the ground as they carried her, her long nightgown trailing in the dust. But it was no normal fainting fit. She was as limp as a corpse, her eyes closed, her young face serene. Then Luca gave a little hiss of horror. The girl's swinging hand was pierced in the palm, the wound oozing blood. They had folded her other hand across her slight body, and Luca could see a smudge of blood on her nightgown. She had the hands of a girl crucified. Luca froze where he stood, forcing himself to stay hidden in the shadows, unable to look away from the strange, terrible wounds. And then he saw something that seemed even worse. All 3 women, carrying the sleeping girl, wore her expression of rapt serenity. As they shuffled along, carrying their limp, bleeding burden, all 3 were slightly smiling, all 3 were radiant, as if with an inner secret joy. And their eyes were closed like hers.